Mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. This is our off-air podcast that we do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We go live sometime around 10:30 on the Miguel and Holly and the Hits 961 Facebook page. So if you want to watch it live or on the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel, and check out our other podcasts like Miguel and Holly Full Show, Miguel and Holly Queen City Confessions, Miguel and Holly's Blown Off, please listen to the podcast, rate it, and share it with someone else. All right. Yeah. This was last week was the first, 5-day week we had?
Yes.
It was. Mm-hmm.
And did the weekend seem like it just zapped by?
Flew.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, during the weekend, I was like, this is it now. This is what life is like now for the rest of the year.
Damn.
I was like, it's so hard. Like, I would have thought that as I got older, it would have been easier and more routine to wake up at the hour that we do. But like, it's gotten worse. I feel like I'm just like, I just want to sleep in a little bit.
Because it's dumb. Working 5 days to only have two.
It's like you get a little taste and then corporate America's like, come back in here.
It's actually really interesting if you watch the show The Gilded Age on HBO that deals with the late 1800s in New York and that society, and with the Vanderbilts and all that stuff. And one of the main characters in the show, the Russells, they're sort of in the vein of one of those big robber baron families that made their money building railroad tracks over the U.S. And one of the storylines this season on The Gilded Age was the workers who are building the railroad tracks across the country are saying, we want, I think it's either 1 day off.
Yeah.
And we only want to work 8 hours. So this is the very beginning of America figuring out, because remember,
didn't have law, like you just worked all the time.
There were no standards. They were just like, you work every day. So it's interesting to hear how the writers, through letters and newspaper articles, we kind of know where the people that held or were in control of these companies, where their thinking was. And the guy, the CEO, is trying to be a little more sympathetic and to be like, well, they need to be able to be with their families. But the people around him, little talking heads, are like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't need to do it, because back then they didn't give a fuck about the workers. They didn't give anything. And so it's interesting to see, where we are today and to how the workday was shaped and started through those times. And then I think, what's his face? Henry T. Ford had a lot to do with the 8-hour workday and stuff like that. So
are you just saying we should just shut up because we're lucky that we have?
No. I'm saying that it's a progression that, it went from like you work sun up to sundown 7 days a week to you get 1 day off, which you can still work all day, sun up to sundown. And then it was 8 hours in 2 days. So it's interesting to see, as you've heard different news stories about the 4-day work week or even working from home, how that's totally changed everything. So we don't know what it's going to look like in the next 20 years when it comes to what a workday looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was went to an LGBTQ media thing for Charlotte people this weekend. And one of the guys who works for NPR behind the scenes, he used to do like morning shows like what we do for a long time. So I was chatting with him because his morning team, he was a producer, and his morning team he worked for did it for like 30 years. And he was like, one day they were just like, we're done. They're like, literally, we cannot do it anymore. And he was like, oh, because he's a lot younger than them. And he was like, I thought we were going to like retire together. And they were like, we can't do this anymore. And I'm like, I get it.
Yes. I get it too.
I get it.
I mean, because it's almost like it's an uphill battle just to do it in the first place.
Right.
Even though you love the job, right? It's not even like we're getting up to like build the railroad. Right. Like we're getting up to do a job that we love, but it's still an uphill battle because we're almost like defying the laws of human circadian rhythms and like getting up with the sun and things like that. So it's like we're already pushing against what the human body should be physically doing. And so eventually I feel like your body is just like, sit down.
No more.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think, what is it? Is it third shift workers or fourth shift? I don't remember. I don't know what the official term is.
I don't know that there's a fourth shift.
Fourth shift? I don't know. Whatever that term is.
The graveyard shift.
Who works overnight.
My dad has consistently been a third shift worker for most of his life. Second shift would be like 7 to 11, and like overnights would be like 11 to 7.
Okay, so any person that works in those hours, whether it's, whatever the case may be, you understand that lifestyle and how difficult it can be. But I was asking him, I was like, how do you feel now? Because he's about, I think, 2 years removed from doing that. And he was like, he did it for like the majority of his working life, doing morning radio. And he was like, it took about a year to finally like relax and not have the time clock that we always put on ourselves about like, gotta eat dinner, gotta be in bed. It's
a consistent rush through the day because you just, it's literally like a rush to bedtime.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it was really interesting to hear him. But outside of that conversation about, like working and stuff like that, it was really fun, like talking to other gay media people and TV and other aspects of it, because it went from the first like 30 minutes of just media talk to just a bunch of gay people sitting around drinking. And so
I feel like, of course it did. Like, but that's good. It
always ends there.
Yeah, but it was really cute. Met some really cool new people from different TV stations here in Charlotte and whatnot. So it was a really fun time.
How did you find these people?
So one of my friends, remember Derek? He is anchor or a reporter for Queen City News. He's come to me a couple of times for different stories, like about Beyonce coming to town.
Yes.
He took it upon himself to sort of organize this for all of Charlotte. So he reached out to different gays, LGBTQ members, and said, hey, if I didn't get someone, if you know a coworker who'd be interested, let them know. And so he took it upon himself to like put it together. So I think it's going to be like a once a quarter thing where we sort of get together and just, hey, how's it going? You're not alone. You got, people here. So that was really cool.
I didn't realize
that was very nice.
There's so many gay news reporters.
Yeah, there are.
I just never realized that until I got like here in radio. I was like, damn. All you motherfuckers are gay.
A lot of gays.
They are, but they've always been there. They just were never able to talk about it.
Yeah.
They never featured.
Now,
why do you think they look so nice?
And
they look
now
all fancy and
on Instagram, I see their titties like just naked all the time. All the time.
Oh god.
They are shirtless at the beach, relaxing, and then talking about some car crash the next day. It's crazy.
Well, that's like dichotomy. Ben Thompson, who was on here, who from WCNC Charlotte,
shirtless.
Like he was one of the first ones who I saw when we moved here to Charlotte, and I was like, oh, let me friend homegirl. We were like, hey girl. He was like, hey girl. But yeah, he's on his Instagram shirtless with his husband. They be at the beach, and I'll be like, you won't find us shirtless like that, but good on you.
That's a bit of a privilege for a man, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a female news anchor would be given the same birth.
Right.
There was one woman, I don't know what her name is, but she followed me on Instagram, and I'm sure she follows you guys too. And she's a lesbian. And I remember she posted this on her story maybe a week or two ago, and she said, wow, I can't believe how many followers I lost since I put my girlfriend on my Instagram story.
Yeah.
Just so sad.
I think it's women still get shit on.
Yeah.
Even like, because there's so many different ways to shit on so many different people. Whether you're discriminating against, like, if you're gay or lesbian or based on race or whatever, but by and large, it really seems like even the gay women get shit on because it's like, why? Oh, the patriarchy, but it's fine. It just, I happened to think that because I was like, man, you couldn't have a news anchor come out in this like teeny bikini with her, whoever it is, girlfriend, boyfriend, because people be like, I'm not getting my news from that hussy or whatever. Just, it's interesting. It's happened to cross my mind. I'm not trying to make like a big get on my soapbox or anything.
No, I mean, but sort of in the similar vein of that, because I had on the list to talk about on the podcast today is, I don't know if any of y'all watched this weekend, the sort of trending docu series. I think I touched on it on Friday's podcast called American Nightmare.
Oh, I saw you put it on your social media, but I hadn't looked at it.
So I was on the front page of Netflix.
Yeah, everyone's sort of talking about it, and we finished it this weekend. And basically, without spoiling it. Well, I'm a little bit of a spoiler alert, because in order for me to explain like sort of how this marries to what you were talking about with women, I have to sort of spoil it a little bit. So this woman was kidnapped from her bed where her boyfriend and her was sleeping, and she was kidnapped for 2 days, and then she got dropped off at her dad's house, and everyone was like, because this is maybe a year after the Gone Girl movie with Ben Affleck was out, and the whole premise of that is she faked her kidnapping to get attention. And so people were like, oh, this is the Gone Girl situation, because the details around her kidnapping just seemed so crazy and like only could be made up for a movie or something.
Right.
And
even
this is a true story.
This is a true story, yeah. And even the police were like, well, this is a Gone Girl situation. And they totally just blasted her on the news. And they were like, she's wasted resources. This was a hoax. This isn't true. And so, spoiler alert, if you made it this far, just hold on for a quick second. It comes to find out that like it was true, like what happened, that there was a guy who had done this to several women. And then there was one fucking woman police officer who connected the dots and said, homegirl is telling the truth, but all of these men did not believe her. And that was the sort of moral of the story, was that women are never believed.
Right.
And that was one of the saddest things about this story, is that like, she's like, I was kidnapped, I was raped, I had all these things happen to me, and her story and her boyfriend's story completely matched up. And the police were like, don't believe you.
Right. They're like, well, we seen this movie and it sounds a lot like a movie. So sorry.
Like, it's just, and I feel like that's why I've always said this, that because I was very lucky growing up with my mom and my grandmother as like the center of my life, like to me, it doesn't make sense that people like the patriarchy and like people don't believe women, because that's all I know are strong women. And so when watching this story, like you just get so pissed and you're like, how do you now? The way they set the show up, there is a little bit of like, is she telling the truth? Which you have to ask that question.
Well, that's what good investigators do.
Absolutely. You have to turn over every stone.
Yeah.
But as she's like, I mean, like one of the facts when she because basically she got a lawyer as soon as she got home, because she was like, there's so much coming at me, because it was a media circus, which she was kidnapped for 2 days and didn't realize that the whole like world was paying attention to her story. So she got a lawyer just to make sure. And even the lawyer was like, I believe you. And so then as they're interrogating her, the lawyer was like, can she get a rape kit before we even go down there? Because there's, you know, a certain period of time where that's viable.
Right.
And they were like, we want to hear a story first.
What?
Like it just makes you so sad that like this is where we are still. So definitely watch, even though like if you listen to that and you hadn't watched, I spoiled the ending, it's still worth it, because it's just because there's a lot of details I left out that are super fascinating. American Nightmare, but it just, that's been the theme of what I've been seeing people saying, is like, here is a perfect example of how men don't believe women when they come forward with their truth.
Totally been written off.
So sad.
Yeah.
So yeah, American Nightmare. Check it out on Netflix.
That's good.
How was everyone's weekend?
Good weekend. I had Maya this weekend. And we had bonus daughter too, but only on one of the days. But spoiler for me, I'm in Tampa Bay. And they had the kids' Gasparilla parade this weekend. And so I took Maya, and she had never been to a parade ever. Like, I was like, what am I doing as a parent? Like, I'm sorry. I was in band. I was in every parade. Like, even as a kid, like a little kid, my mom would take us to like the 4th of July parade in town or whatever. And it didn't dawn on me. Like, I guess I'd never taken her to a parade, and neither has her dad. And so she's asking all these questions where I'm like, don't be silly. Like, why? This is ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, well, I've never been to this. And I was like, huh? What? What kind of a parent am I? I've never taken you to a parade. So it was a little bit of a shock. And I didn't even really want to go, to be absolutely honest with you, because it's stressful for me thinking about driving to Tampa, finding parking. Are you kidding me?
That's the worst part.
I am totally directionally challenged. I'm going to get lost. I don't even know. I'm going to end up on a side street where I shouldn't. Somehow the parking gods of the universe shined down on me, and I did get a spot. And we went, but she had a blast, and I'm so glad. So that was really cool. And so we did that on Saturday, and we were all really excited about the Bucks Lions game on Sunday. And I was of the mindset, like, I'm cheering for the Bucks, right? Because, Tampa's our thing. And we were like, they had an amazing season where nobody expected them to go to the playoffs either. And I've always been a Baker Mayfield fan, who's the quarterback. And I'm like, look at this man go. Like, he has been shoved off by so many different teams. And he took a team from, everyone was like, oh, the Bucks are going to be absolutely nothing without Tom Brady. And then, like, look what he did. So anyway, it was just a really cool story. And except they were up against the Detroit Lions with this Cinderella underdog story. So I was like, even if the Bucks lose, I'm still going to feel good, because Detroit, the people of Detroit, need this. So that's exactly what happened. The Bucks lost, and at the end I was like, oh, that's a little bummed. It's a bummer, and I feel bad for Baker and all those guys, but I feel like, wow, look at Detroit, and I'm all the way Detroit. Let's go. So that was a cool, just build up of a day yesterday, but it does feel like the weekend flew by, and so I was just like, pack it in. We got to get ready for bed. Going to be up in an hour.
Yes, get them sports, girl. Producer Kelvin, did you watch the game?
Girl.
Or any of the games?
I saw Drag Race games. I saw that. That was a good episode.
Did you see Taylor Swift's boyfriend game? No.
No, not even that.
No,
I
you didn't watch it.
I don't know her either.
That's good.
No, I really had an uneventful weekend, to be quite honest. Friday, saw Drag Race, had a friend come over. Drag Race was great. They did the ball challenge, and so essentially they have to show you 3 outfits. And they usually do that later on in the show when a few queens have been eliminated, but most of the girls were there. I think all of them were there. 14 or 13 of the girls were there. So that was like 42 outfits that we saw in that episode. Oh. But it was fantastic. I mean, they had to design an outfit out of menswear. And so like ties and like leather jackets and things like that. And it was really cool.
When they give them those challenges, do they tell them before they get there so they can prepare? Or do they just spring it on them while they're there? And they're like, well, you have to make do with what you got.
I think they do it right then and there. So the way that the ball challenge works, they tell you like, all right, your first outfit is this. Your second outfit is this. And those they tell them to prepare beforehand. Whereas the third outfit where they have to make it right then and there, I think they probably do tell them right at that episode, and not then they beforehand.
It kind of like is a cooking. It's like a cooking competition show where like you don't know what you're gonna get, but then all of a sudden they're like, these are your ingredients, go.
Yes.
And so same concept, like you have to be on your toes.
Yes, 100%. And yeah, so that was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed that. And then the next day I went to South Carolina. When we went to Miami back in December, we saw the line in Allegiant to check our bags, and it was so long. And now that I have pre-check, I'm a monster. Like I go an hour before, I'm fine. I have my book bag or my carry-on, I'm good. But because my fiance Oscar had a check bag, we were not going to make that line and make the flight. So we had to call his parents after dropping us off to go and get our bag. And we would just meet him up later in Georgia or somewhere halfway to get the bag back. So we did that. We went to go have lunch. We went to some Dominican spot in Greenville. And that was pretty much my weekend. I think I saw the Barbie movie. I cooked that chicken that I told you guys about today. And that's it. A pretty plain, chill weekend. Nothing too crazy. I'm saving money. I'm going to Miami this weekend. So we're not trying to ball out.
No, that makes sense. And I feel like after the holidays, it's just like January, just recoup your life, your soul and your spirit and your bank account.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Friday night we celebrated our anniversary because today 1/22/24, but 1/22/22 was our wedding date.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. So Abe and I celebrated Friday night. So we went to Discovery Zones or Discovery Places, Science on the Rocks, which is really, really cool. And since I'd never been, I'd only heard about it. Like you could just spend the entire evening there because there's so much going on. And so we were kind of like rushing through it because they opened at 6 and our reservations were at 8. So I thought, oh, that's more than enough time. And then like, as I had to be the like watch keeper, and I was like, oh shit, we aren't even halfway through this thing and we only have 30 minutes left before we got to get an Uber and go to dinner. but it's so much fun because they have different exhibits that you can go to. Like they have the aquarium, the rainforest, and some other, or like electricity and the human body, and then like stuff that you can actually like experience. And then there was a whole nother level we didn't even get to because we didn't have time.
Sounds like a hands-on science center.
Yes, exactly. But it's just adults and they got drinks.
I love stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And so
really do.
It was really cool. So you could tell it is definitely a date night spot. Because you saw lots of people holding hands. I saw a couple of what looked like awkward first dates.
Ooh.
And
well,
I was like,
cool
this is
first date because it gives you something to do with your hands.
100%.
What do I do with my hands? Well, here we're gonna go tinker with something or other.
I would say definitely if you live in Charlotte, this is the perfect first date place. Where you can suss out, how people are. But we got a lot of compliments. I did on my jacket because I wore my wedding jacket for my wedding suit.
Oh, you did. I didn't see
that bitch until
man, you lucky ass bitch.
Yes, honey.
You're getting so much use out of that thing.
Got holes in it.
Listen, I will wear that shit to the buttons and everything comes off. Yep. How expensive that was. Like I will never in my life buy something that I put on my body to wear that expensive again. So I'm gonna get the full usage out of it.
That's what I'm saying. You're just lucky you can. That's really great. Wear it.
Literally. So I have a whole video on my Instagram at Miguel Fuller that you can see. So then we went to The Fox and the Falcon by David Burke in South Park for our dinner. And that was really cool. But there are a couple of things that happened at the dinner that I was like, how can I bring this up on the air? And I was like, let me talk it through on the podcast first, and then I can pick apart how I want to talk about it on the on-air show.
Mm-hmm.
So the place and the space is beautiful. David Burke is a famous chef who was on, I believe, Iron Chef, maybe back in the early 2000s, or earlier seasons. But he's famous for that. So he's had restaurants in New York and here in Charlotte and other places. So we get to our seat, and we know two people that are there serving, and one's a chef, and so it was really cool to sort of see them. And they brought over some little tchotchkes and like good food for us to eat for free, which was really cool. I was like, oh, thank you. So then there was this group of, I would say, probably mid to late 20-somethings. So we were sort of by the bathroom where you could just see everybody going in. So there was one point where we walked in the bathroom and there were two guys in the stall and the third person in the stall. And I was just waiting for the bathroom. And then one of them was done. He walked out and I went to use the bathroom, used it. I walked out and he was like facing towards the wall outside the bathroom. And I was like, why is he still out here? What is he doing? And then you hear, and I was like,
he's not outside the bathroom doing the cocaine.
The ketamine.
Or whatever.
Was it a gay?
No, they were straight.
Oh, cocaine then.
So I was like, oh my God, like just out here in the open. Like doing it.
Why
He's doing it in the bathroom.
Right. Why was he not doing it in the bathroom?
Right. I was like, oh my God, I can't. So he goes.
Well, I mean, if you're high on cocaine, maybe you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
I'm about to say you don't know because then, like, because now I'm like tuned into this group. And so I watch him walk back over and they're the lively group in the restaurant. Like they're all just laughing extra loud and sloshing wine everywhere.
Restaurant.
Yes, this is a fancy place. Like
those are some finance bros that have too much money that they don't know what to do with right
absolutely.
now.
So then here's where it gets fucking nuts. So midway through dinner, I had to go to the bathroom again because we were drinking lots of wine and water. So then I go back to the bathroom, and in one of the big handicap stall, I hear just talking, muttering very quietly, and I was like, "Wait, what's going on?
This is off the rails."
So then I was like, what? And I'm like, you know what? It's fine, whatever. It's none of my business. I'm not gonna sit here and listen. So then I go back.
I would for that. I mean, I get one of those glasses. I have it up against the door. I'll be like, what did you say?
So then I was like, all right, now I'm fucking invested. So I got my phone out. I put my timer on. I'm like, how long is it going to take for this man or whoever it's in here to walk out? Because there was no one else in the bathroom except for me and the person in the other stall talking. It was 8 minutes and 25 seconds before him and his girlfriend walked out. And I was like, I think they were fucking in the bathroom.
Absolutely.
And then it was so funny because like he walked out and then about 30 seconds later, I'm like, y'all couldn't wait like another minute. And then she walks out, but then as she's walking out, you can see she's like pressing her dress to herself and she's just like, okay, I'm good. I was like, y'all just did it in the bathroom. Like, in this nice ass restaurant.
Right next to you?
Place.
Like right next to you?
Yeah. But
That's
I mean,
wild.
it was like stall, obviously I couldn't see anything. But I was like,
like peek under?
Right. And like nobody had went in that 8 minutes and 25 seconds. No one had gone into the bathroom. So they had full reign to do whatever they wanted to do.
And they didn't know you were there?
Wild. I bet they did. That's why there was the whispering.
Yeah. But I don't think they cared.
I mean, listen, if you're going to be so bold as to do coke and then go up in a bathroom and get railed at a fancy restaurant, you don't care if someone walks in.
Save all of that. Play it back tomorrow on the show.
Oh my God.
That is insane. Like, and just the general devil may care attitude of 20-somethings, truly, like,
right.
The world is their oyster. There is no repercussion that they can't handle because it doesn't matter. They're invincible.
Yes.
The rules don't apply.
I was just flabbergasted at the whole thing. I was just like,
I would have also been flabbergasted at a nice restaurant like that. Like, come on now.
But otherwise, the food was great. The hanging bacon off the clothesline was great.
Dinner and a show.
Literally.
Yes, it was dinnertainment.
That's your favorite.
Girl.
Just fancy
Honey.
restaurant edition.
And I was eating it up.
Yes.
But what was sort of a little unfortunate is I haven't talked about this on the show yet, but I told you 2 months ago that I started on semaglutide, the dissolvable pills, but then I switched last week to the Ozempic shot, where you take it once a week.
Ozempic. That's you.
Yeah. Well, the Ozempic was Ozempicing. Because let me tell you, I had so the bacon, when the bacon came, my friend Seth, who's a chef there, he brought it for us. And they had the little torch or whatever you call it, where they like, I think it's like pre-cooked, and then they just sort of like torch it right there in front of you.
It's probably, pre-cooked, and then they're like heating it up, but also providing that like almost caramelized outer layer.
Yes, 100%. And so they do that to it. And as soon as that bacon smell hit my nose, I was like, this smells like burning flesh right now. Like,
well, it is.
I mean, it is.
I know, but normally bacon cooking, I'm like, yeah, give it to me. But then on the Ozempic, I was like, oh. And so then I was like, I have to, like, we're here. I have to try it. So I took a little, so they have it on clothespins.
Yeah,
so
it's a really cool presentation.
It is. And they have like a little pickle on the bottom and then a lemon. And then you take scissors and you cut a little piece of bacon on it. And then he said, squirt the lemon on it. You take a bite of the bacon with the lemon on it. And then you take a bite of the pickle. You do it all in like one bite. And it was delicious.
I see. I was like, one time we went to that one restaurant with the same type of thing. And I was like, does anybody want this pickle? Because I want the whole one. Anyway,
you're supposed to chop it up for everybody.
Damn it. I was like, I want that pickle with all that bacon grease on it. Anyway, so you ate it the right way.
I did. But like after one bite, I was like, can't do anymore.
That's that Ozempic, girl. I remember when I first got my shots, and we all went to lunch right after. I can't remember where he took us, but it was somewhere in South End.
Yeah, they had not a good Caesar salad, by the way. I remember.
Yes, it was weird, like arugula or something.
So weird. Yeah. Well, I put the fucking romaine. Anyway, go ahead.
I had just gotten the shots, I think, with you like the day before, 2 days before, and I was like, you know what? don't think it's working right now because I want French fries. But I was like, let me get a healthy sandwich. And when I finished that meal, the tummy ache that I got right after. So it works immediately. Like, how do you feel now that your senses, the nausea's in? How do you feel when you eat now?
I feel I'm just being very cautious about everything. So like I ordered a steak and mashed potatoes. So like I cut into the steak and I had one bite and I was like, you know, like when you're really full and your cheeks kind of blow up and you're just like, I just don't know if I can eat anymore. And I'm like, I have to eat at least one more bite.
I told you I asked to not order steak too, and you still
I did. Well,
that's
so
high fat too, fatty.
Now I was gonna get the chicken, but they had run out because it's Charlotte Restaurant Week, and that was on the menu. So a lot of people had ordered the chicken, and so I was like, "Well, there ain't nothing else on this menu because the rest of it's seafood I can eat." So we just have to take it real slow. So I got through 2 bites, and then 2 bites of the mashed potatoes, and even like the béarnaise sauce they had. I was like, normally nothing is ever too buttery for me. The béarnaise sauce, I was like, ugh.
Well, the béarnaise is only basically butter. It's like butter with a little extra zhuzh.
Literally, but I didn't even, because normally I would dunk my whole bite of steak in there, but I just let me just do a little bit. And even that little bit, I was like, ugh.
Oh God, that sounds like a time.
Petite
and
girl.
honestly, I feel for Abe a little bit, honestly. Because if I'm in that situation and you're really wanting to have a great dinner, you want to see the other person enjoying it too, as you enjoy yours. And so he's eating his whatever he got, and I'm sure he's looking at you and you're eating nothing, and he's like, guess I'll just enjoy my whole ass plate alone.
Girl, do you think it stopped him for one bit?
No. Maybe that's more of a me thing. That's fine.
You go through that, babe.
It was like, I'm so sorry. Eating a steak tartare, girl. He was getting it.
Yeah. No.
And then our friends, because it was our anniversary celebration dinner, they brought over a dessert, and I was like,
feed that bitch.
So I was like, I took a little spoonful, and I just licked a little ice cream, and I was like, I was like, that's all I can do. But then by this point, Abe was tipsy, so he was just and he's not even a sweets person, so he was just scoop, 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 scoop. I was like, bitch, your stomach gonna hurt. You gonna have a hard time later tonight.
I bet he did. Did he have a hard time?
Yeah, he did the next day. A little rough, but it was cute. So then we left. The one time I did the black service on Lyft to get a nice big black, but because it was nobody was out Friday night. Big black SUV.
Okay, because you didn't say. You just said we had a big black, and then you went on.
It was big and black, and what
wanted
else?
to just leave it there.
Oh, okay, got it.
All right.
So yeah, once that we ordered that because no one was out Friday night, so the prices were very low. So then we went to the rooftop bar at our apartment, had a drink or two there, and then that was it. It was a cute little night, and we did not do gifts for this anniversary. So.
And that's okay. You made a good point. We just did Christmas. We got Valentine's Day coming up.
Right.
Y'all are moving. Don't need gifts.
There will be no more gifts this year outside of his birthday. We're done.
For Valentine's Day, we don't do gifts anymore. I feel like we probably did that our first year, but now what we do is one takes care of dinner, whether that's cooking or we go out to a restaurant, and then the other person is in charge of the activity. So last year, Oscar took me on a ghost tour around Uptown, and that was so much fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea, because I was starting to get stressed out about Valentine's Day. Really quick, I want to go back to what Shannon Brion said on YouTube. I am not on Ozempic. I just want to.
No, she's not.
I'm not on the Ozempic. So don't worry.
She said, so all three of you now on Uncensored now, and no, we are not.
No, we're not.
No.
Kelvin, are you
and
still
Kelvin is not either.
I am not on it anymore.
Right. Kelvin was. I am not, and Miguel is now. So
she also said being the partner of an Ozempic GL1P patient is a whole different perspective. Just saying, and no one talks about what it's like to be the partner of Ozempic.
That's what I'm saying. I can imagine. I can imagine it can be difficult, or anybody with a different situation like that.
I'm sure Oscar has opinions.
So yeah. But I mean, even so, but it's interesting because I took the shot Wednesday, so Friday it was I think at its peak for the week, and I was just whoop. But then Saturday we went to brunch at the Degenerate, and I had 3 breakfast tacos. I was able to eat 2, And instead of getting the breakfast potatoes, I just got the little house-made chips, and I ate like 5 of those, and I was like, I'm done. So it like I can feel it like lessening as the week goes on, because like last night I was able to eat 2 tacos that we made at home, but I didn't eat any. I think I had like 5 chips. That was it. So
I think maybe what it does too is help you put in perspective like the ridiculousness of the serving sizes we get in America.
100%.
Because it's like it forces you to get used to eating these portions, but like nobody really should be eating some of the portions that some restaurants are giving you. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, 100%. Like when the mountain of fries, if you get something, or just like even a side salad, I'm like, girl, that's a salad for 3 people.
I know.
That's not a side salad.
Right.
Yeah. And as a quick side tangent, I'm relating to you because I had like a really bad eating weekend. I was like feeling low last week. I think it was my period, whatever. So my fiance actually had got me flowers on Friday, which was so nice. And then I was hesitant to ask him this because like we're both healthy eaters for the most part, which is helpful. As Shannon was talking about, like if your partner is on a certain type of eating way and you're not, that can make it difficult. So we're on the same, like, you know, gluten-free, wheat-free, like eating path. But I've been a little lackadaisical a little bit. And so I don't know why. I think I got an email and I think it was our conversation on the air on Friday, but I'm like, can we go to Olive Garden?
Yes, get that Olive Garden, girl. Yeah.
I just wanted some Olive Garden.
Holly, the gluten.
Bitch, I had so much gluten on Saturday.
You were farting, weren't you?
I had the worst bloating, potty times, gas. It was not worth it. But it wasn't.
Okay,
like this is what I was. This is
it?
what I was going to tell you really quickly about Olive Garden. Olive Garden is like fake Italian. You know, you called me out. You're like, well, you always used to do first dates at Olive Garden. I was like, not anymore. Stop. Like, I do fancy places now. But I was like, I don't care. I'm going to Olive Garden, and I'm getting the thing that I used to get back in the day, which is the 5-cheese ziti al forno.
Oh, she said, when I go, I'm going to go all the way in.
And I was so nervous because he's over there trying to look for gluten-free options. He's like, they have gluten-free pasta. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to get it, though. And he's like, get what you want.
I felt betrayed.
I know. I was like, damn it. I just want to be really just unhealthy. And I paid for it. But it was delicious. It was delicious. And I was like, damn, Olive Garden, you're over here making a consistent meal. Like he had some carbonara thing with the gluten. The gluten-free pasta was great. I should have gotten that. At least that would have helped a little bit. But it was really good. But I ended the night feeling what you were feeling because I don't eat wheat or gluten ever. And so I had like a couple bites of a breadstick. I had all that pasta. And then I got a free dessert because it was my birthday month. And I had little donuts.
Oh, so
that's what pushed me over the edge. By the time we rolled home, I was like, how dare you? How dare you? I would never do that outside of a toilet. Oh,
I had it up. I was just waiting for the right moment. Listen, that's how I felt Saturday after all that food. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, Abe, you're going to have to leave the room.
Oh, no. Oh,
no. The trauma. I'm remembering.
The remembering.
But I will say my stomach hasn't hurt at all on the Ozempic.
Okay.
Because Amy said, I have a really good friend that was on it and made her super sick and caused pancreas issues. Everyone is different, but just be careful. And so I've been been listening to my body and trying to make sure that everything is okay. And the only thing I had like a leftover chocolate chip cookie from somewhere, and I ate that yesterday. And then afterwards, my body was like, we don't think that's good for you. Yeah. And I was like, got it. All right, we'll strike that off the list.
Yeah, because Kelvin, you did not have a great experience.
By the last month. If I could take back the first 2 months, it was a little numb emotions towards food. That's fine.
Yeah.
The third month, when it went up to 1 milligram, I could not. I should have not continued after the second week, but I was like, I'm going to give it one more go. And that was the worst week. So,
Yeah, just listen to your body.
Everybody's a little bit different. So, all right, Producer Kelvin, how can people find you on social media?
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, but I'm pretty much active on Instagram. So, add me there.
Holly?
Radio Holly on TikTok and Instagram, also on like Threads and X or Twitter, whatever. So find me there.
Mine is at Miguel Fuller. You can find me everywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Be Real, and on Peloton. We will see you all on Wednesday. Bye.
Miguel